Heat. Heat. In the Kalahari Basin, water is the supreme force, compelling even its rulers to redefine their very nature. The epicenter of this transformation lies in the Okavango Delta, a phenomenal work of nature. Each year a great river begins its journey from Angola. But its destination is not the sea. Instead, it ventures into the desert's heart, turning nearly 6,000 square miles of dry sand into a lush wetland before it evaporates. It is a miracle of life recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. And in the heart of that heritage site, lions have rewritten every rule their kind once followed. The Okavango lions are unlike any other population on the continent. Their bodies have changed. Broader shoulders, deeper chests, and muscles. Far more developed than their dryland relatives. This was no sudden alteration. It is a legacy etched into their very bloodline over countless generations. Natural selection has forged an extraordinary instinct, a skill for water combat that no lesson could ever teach. They move with a high-stepping gait, lifting each leg vertically from the water before placing it down, minimizing the drag of the current. Their paws are wider than normal, acting like snowshoes on the soft mud, distributing their weight to prevent them from sinking. Derek and Beverly Juba, filmmakers who have dedicated their lives to chronicling the Okavango, describe it as the most astonishing adaptation they have ever witnessed in lives. But the most profound transformation is not in their anatomy but in their hunting tactics. While their dry land cousins kill with a suffocating bite to the throat, the Okavango lions drive their targets into channels and drown them. This strategy requires something that mere instinct cannot create. Deliberate coordination between individuals and a deep understanding of the watery terrain. And above all, the courage to conquer an element that feline instinct has always sought to avoid. The Ba people, fishermen who live along the Okavango's channels, call the lion Dao. In their language, Dao is not just a name. It is a symbol of sacred power. A clan totem. In this inundated world, the lion's greatest adversary is none other than the African buffalo. An Okavango buffalo herd can number up to 2,000, a moving fortress that even the largest pride must hesitate to attack. On the head of each adult bull, 2 horns fuse into a solid shield of bone, called a boss. Fully formed when the animal reaches 8 to 9 years of age. That shield can withstand the direct charge of a male lion. It is the product of millions of years of natural selection in a world full of enemies. Yet the buffalo's most formidable weapon is not its physical strength, but its collective intelligence. Ecologist Herbert Prince discovered that when a herd needs to decide on a direction, the adult females stand and look towards where they wish to go. The will of the majority decides, a form of primitive democracy operating in the heart of the wild. Buffalo traverse the swamps on wide, spled hooves like combat boots, pushing through mud without slowing. They bathe in mud daily. The dried layer forms a natural armor that both regulates their temperature and deters parasites. And as the buffalo move, they mow down the tall, tough grasses untouched by other grazers, clearing paths for impala, zebra, and dozens of other species to feed behind them. But buffalo are not the only force shaping the wetlands. There is another ecological engineer, heavier, more dangerous, and far more ancient. The hippopotamus. 6,600 pounds of muscle, skin nearly 2 in thick, and jaws that can open to 150 degrees. This is the hippopotamus, an animal many researchers consider to be Africa's most dangerous. Their body design is a masterpiece of aquatic engineering. Eyes, ears, and nostrils are aligned on the top of their head like the periscope of a submarine, allowing them to see while almost fully submerged. Their skin secretes a red fluid called hipposudoric acid, not blood, but a natural sunscreen that blocks ultraviolet rays and kills bacteria. Research by Saikawa and colleagues published in the journal Nature in 2004 confirmed this is a unique biological defense system in the mammalian world. But the hippo's greatest contribution to the Okavango is not its fighting prowess. Each night the herds come ashore to graze, returning to the water before dawn. Their repeated journeys forge deep channels through the dense vegetation. These channels become the arteries of the delta, carrying water to drier lands, expanding the swamp's borders, and creating habitats for fish, birds, and hundreds of other species. Hippos don't build dams like beavers. They are simply too big, too heavy, and travel too often, unintentionally, creating a natural irrigation network that is irreplaceable. The channels created by hippos are also the highways that lions use to move between hunting grounds. Without hippos, lions would have to swim through dense marsh. A slower, more dangerous, and far more exhausting journey. The lower canines of an adult bull can reach 20 in length. Its bite force is estimated at 1,800 pounds. A force strong enough to splinter a wooden boat and certainly enough to cost any intruder, even a lion, its life. When two bulls fight for territory, they gape to their widest extent, displaying their enormous teeth in a lethal warning. The battles can last for hours, often ending only when one of the combatants falls. But the Okavango also hides a threat that not even a hippo can withstand. Anthrax. The bacterium Bacillus anthracis periodically erupts in the delta, and hippos are among the first victims. When a hippo dies from anthrax, its carcass becomes a biological bomb, releasing spores into the water, soil, and air, threatening the entire surrounding ecosystem. But even the Lord of the Water has an enemy more ancient than any mammal. And that enemy has been waiting for millions of years. Still, silent, perfect. The Nile crocodile. Along the crocodile's lower jaw, hundreds of integrated sensory organs, called ISOs, are densely packed like a biological radar network. Research by Leach and Cartana, published in the Journal of Experimental Biology in 2012, proved these sensors are more sensitive than a human fingertip. They can detect the faintest ripple from an animal stepping into the water dozens of yards away. The crocodile's back is armored with osteoderms, bony plates embedded just beneath the skin, forming a natural shield that a lion's teeth cannot pierce. But the osteoderms are not just armor. Beneath each plate lies a dense network of blood vessels acting as a biological heating system, absorbing the sun's warmth as the crocodile basks, then distributing it throughout its body. In their stomachs, dozens of small stones called gastroliths are deliberately swallowed, not for digestion, but for ballast. Just as a submarine adjusts its depth with water, a crocodile's attack is not a test of endurance. It is an explosion of power executed in a single second. A strike from below so fast the human eye can barely register it. The prey is dragged under, spun in a maneuver known as the death roll, a technique for tearing flesh without chewing. The bite of a Nile crocodile is among the most powerful in the animal kingdom. And here we discover an astonishing aspect, one that seems to contradict the very nature of a crocodile. They also eat fruit. A study by Platt and colleagues in 2013 in the Journal of Zoology found that crocodiles deliberately swallow waterberries and the fruit of the sausage tree. The seeds pass through their digestive system and are deposited along the river banks, a form of seed dispersal known as sorori. The apex predator, it turns out, is also a silent gardener. A Nile crocodile can survive for 1 to 2 years after a large meal. An efficiency of metabolism unmatched by any mammal. The relationship between crocodile and hippo in the Okavango is a tense equilibrium. They share the same water, the same basking spots. Yet an adult hippo can snap a 10-foot crocodile in half with a single bite. And when lions enter the water, they step into a realm the crocodile has ruled for 100 million years. Here, the terrestrial hunter becomes potential prey. This is the paradox of the Okavango. Water brings life, but it also turns every footstep into a gamble. A truth understood to the bone by predator, crocodile, and especially the prey. For the race is not only between those at the top of the food chain. Below them, the prey are also evolving sophisticated, swift, and no less spectacular. The red lechwe is living proof of the biological arms race between hunter and hunted. Its body is tilted forward with hind legs longer than its front. A design that looks awkward on land, but is perfect in water. The lechwe's hooves are wide and slay upon contact like miniature flippers, giving it purchase on the soft mud without sinking. When pursued, the red leeway does not run. It leaps bounding across the water's surface like a dolphin, a technique called porpoising. Water has 800 times the resistance of air. Every leap out of the water means an 800-fold reduction in drag during the airborne phase. This is not wild instinct. It is physics honed by nature. Between 60,000 and 75,000 red lech live in the Okavango, one of the largest populations on the globe. Their mating system is also bound to the water. Males establish small territories called lech display arenas where they show off their strength. Females observe and almost always choose the male in the central position. The red lechwe's life revolves around water from the moment of birth. Lionesses give birth on dry land, but a lechwe mother delivers her calf at the very edge of the swamp water, shallow enough for the newborn to stand, but deep enough to deter any predator that cannot swim. But there is a place in the Okavango where all these adaptations are pushed to their limit, where lion and buffalo meet head-on day after day in a battle that neither side is willing to lose. Juba Plains. The lions of Juba Plains are specialists in hunting buffalo, not by choice, but by tradition. One generation teaches the next the skills to confront prey, weighing nearly 2,000 pounds, a form of what scientists call cultural food specialization. No other lion pride in the world so regularly attacks prey 4 times its own body weight except for the Juba pride. 10 to 20 lions coordinate their attacks in broad daylight, something exceedingly rare for any other lion population in the world. They do not chase in the traditional sense. Instead, they slowly close in. Cornered, the buffalo are forced back into water channels where the soft mud instantly traps their legs, turning their immense strength into a deadly liability. And finally, the largest individual will climb onto the buffalo's back and push it under. This is not instinct. This is strategy taught, learned, passed down from mother to daughter over generations. But the lion's ingenuity does not stop with hunting buffalo. Each pride in the Okavango develops its own hunting culture, a tactical legacy, passed from one generation to the next. When an experienced elder dies, she takes with her a library of knowledge. The pride may never relearn. This same adaptability has led to deadly conflict with people, especially when prides learn to raid livestock farms. Consequently, relentless retaliations have cost more than 20 lions their lives each year, pushing the local population to the brink of collapse. To break this cycle, the organization clause was born. They implement simple yet effective solutions. GPS collars that send automatic alerts to farmers and canvas crawls to block the lion's predatory instincts. As a result, the number of lions killed has dropped significantly, proving that conservation is not about separation, but about finding ways for humans and wildlife to coexist. In the Okavango, where water writes the laws, humans too are learning to adapt and to listen. But the abundance brought by this water is not eternal. About 125 miles east of the Okavango in Chob National Park, there is a channel that defies understanding. The Sooty Channel, the Ghost River, flows and dries on a cycle that lasts for decades, driven not by rain or drought, but by tectonic shifts deep within the Kalahari Rift system. The last time the Sabuti flowed was in 2008 after 26 years of being completely dry since 1982. When the water recedes, everything changes. The grass turns yellow. Red. Dust settles on every surface. The paths once carved by hippos become cracked fissures of dry earth. The marsh shrinks to a few scattered water holes in a scorched plain. And thousands of exhausted elephants converge on the last remaining mud pools, digging wells with their trunks, searching for water beneath the cracked ground. Elephants are the only ones who can find water when no one else can. Their trunks dig feet deep into the dry riverbed, creating wells upon which dozens of other species, zebra, antelope, even lions, depend. But in Subut, the elephant's unintentional kindness is also a trap. As the herds crowd around the last mud hole, they become their most vulnerable. And there, amidst the desperation of the elephants, the lions have been patiently waiting. The lions of Subut are not like the lions of the Okavango. If the Okavango lions adapted to water, the Subut lions adapted to its absence. And to its consequences. They are larger. Females can reach 350 pounds. The males 550. These immense bodies have been forged by an unthinkable prey, the elephant. Not a fully grown bull, 13 foot tall and 15,000 pounds with the power to overturn a truck. But calves and sub-adults from 4 to 11 years old still large enough to kill any single predator. This is not an act of desperation. It is a skill passed from one generation to the next exactly as the Juba lions pass on the art of hunting buffalo. When a pride loses its oldest females, the teachers who know how to bring down an elephant, that skill can be lost. Forever.to take down an elephant. The Subut lions form a super pride. Up to 30. Strong, 3 times the size of a normal pride. They hunt only at night. Elephants have poor night vision, and in the darkness. Their great size becomes a liability rather than an advantage. The hunt begins not with speed, but with infinite patience as the pride stalks. For hours to isolate a young elephant from the protection of its herd. The calf screams can summon a formidable defense, a phalanx of tusk and muscle that forces the lions to retreat. But if that wall forms too late, the hunt ends in absolute silence. The reward for such a high-stakes gamble is immense. Nearly 9,000 pounds of meat. Enough to sustain the entire super pride for days. But the cost is not small. Most adult lions bear long scars, the marks of tusks of a crushing stomp. Every scar is a story of nights when the line between success and failure was measured in seconds of near-death encounters survived. But lions are not the only threat. The Subut night conceals. As the elephant's cries fade into silence, another sound rises. The chilling whooping calls that tear through the darkness. The voice of an ancient enemy. The spotted hyena. They are not the scavengers of popular myth. 80% of a spotted hyena's food comes from active hunting. A figure confirmed by researcher K. Holamp over decades of fieldwork. Their bite force around 00 psi is the strongest of any African carnivore. Powerful enough to crush the femur of a buffalo. Their jaws do not just bite. They grind, turning bone to powder, extracting calcium and fat that no other predator can reach. In terms of speed, a spotted hyena can reach 37 miles per hour. They can maintain a chase for up to 3 miles, 10 times farther than a lion. If the lion is an ambusher, the hyena is the savanna's most persistent pursuer. The great hyena clans of Subut can number up to 80 individuals, all dominated by females. But in Subut, the greatest threat to the lions comes not from elephants or hyenas.